Hey YouTube, it's Nate from Team Service 03 here, coming with you with our second and probably final video. Activity was good on our first video with the Chaos Dragon deck. That was pretty sweet. Unfortunately, none of us really had the time to do many videos, obviously, because it's been a year since we did our first one. But I just wanted to show off my personal deck that I use basically in most tournaments. It's been a while since I played it in a tournament, but last time I played I placed tied for first. But it is a beatdown deck. A lot of people don't like beatdown decks, but because they don't really have too much strategy. But this one actually does. It's mainly geared towards anti-Stardust. That deck or that card is a real killer for me for most of my duels. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and start. I use Goblin Elite Attack Force. It's a little bit older school card. Not many people heard of it. It's got 2200 attack, 1500 defense. It does bank into defense position just like Goblin Attack Force, but the difference is this actually has defense to it and 100 less attack, which actually makes it a killer because people can't pierce through it like they can Goblin Attack Force. A little bit newer card, Alexandrite Dragon. This card is like beastly because it's got 2000 attacks, level 4, so you can summon it right off the top of your hand, and it has no side effects since it's a normal monster. So that's mainly why it's used instead of Goblin Attack Force. And then this card over here, the Fabled Ganashia. This card is basically the gear of this deck. If it's discarded to the graveyard, it can be special summoned, and in that event, it gains 200 attack. And if it's removed from the field, it's removed from play. But the nice thing about it is that several cards in this deck actually run discards. So anytime I can discard it, I'll use that effect and bring it out. Next card is DD Warrior Lady. Obviously, if somebody brings out a Stardust, I want to get it off the field as quick as I can. A DD Warrior Lady, I can just attack it or just let them attack it in defense and get it removed off the field. A little bit older style card, not really used all that much. It's Exiled Force. Tribute it and destroy a card. So I mean, obviously, if he's on the field, I can just tribute it and basically wipe somebody's field so I can get an attack in with another monster. That's basically his main purpose. Or it's trickery, which I'll get to that later. I use this card to trick a lot of people into thinking that they can use their Stardust against it, but that ends up screwing them in the end. Next card is Marauding Captain. Actually, people don't really use this card very often, or at least I don't see it very often, unless it's a synchro deck, which is actually, they're obviously quite common, but I just don't really see people using it all that much. But basically, he has two effects. He's the only warrior type monster that can be selected if you have another warrior type on the field. He can only be selected to attack it, so he has to be attacked first. Second effect is when it's normal summoned successfully, I can special summon a level 4 or lower monster from my hand. So oftentimes I'll be pulling out either Alexandrite Dragon or Goblin Elite with that combo, or sometimes DD Warrior Lady. Kind of a staple with the deck is Cyber Dragon. Special summon if they have a monster and you don't. And then you can come over here and normal summon Marauding Captain, bring out Alexandrite, whatever. It's all about combos. I only use two tuners. One is Gale the Whirlwind. Obviously, it's kind of like a staple these days. Half of the monsters attack, and obviously Stardust. Next one, Mist Valley Soldier, another anti-Stardust card, pretty much. If it battles with a card and it's not destroyed, then it has to be returned to the owner's hand. So in Stardust's case, it has to be returned to the extra deck. Gore's Emissary Darkness, that's a staple, obviously. If somebody decides to attack me direct, which doesn't happen very often, but it does, he's going to come out and basically steamroll their ass. Then we get into the spells. I run two Mystical Space Typhoons. Reason being is because I don't really want to overload my deck with Mystic Space Typhoons, but also reason being is because I have Heavy Storm as well, and a card that not too many people use is Nobleman of Extermination. And basically, I can destroy one spell or trap card, and remove from play. And if it's a trap card, both of us have to check our decks and remove all cards of the same type from play. So it actually kind of is a heavy hitter. And since this deck doesn't use very many traps, it basically doesn't hurt me. Then of course Staple, Dark Hole, and then Smash. I use one Smashing Ground because I mean I have Exiled Force and I have DD Warrior Lady, which are kind of like my basically monster destroyers in the deck, so I don't really have to worry too much about my spells. And then of course Mind Control, take control of a monster, just get it out of the way so I can attack direct. And then Monster Reborn, bring something back, obviously Staple. And this card, Soul Release, is like the others, an older card that nobody really uses, but basically select up to 5 cards from either mine or my opponent's graveyard and move them from play. And this is where the trickery comes in. Oftentimes, if they have a Stardust on the field, and you summon Exile Force, and use its effect, they're going to try to use their Stardust's effect to negate Exile Force. Well, it'll negate it, but if you come back here and go ahead and play Soul Release, then it gets rid of Stardust, so they can't bring it back. And same thing goes for Lightning Vortex. This is where Fable Ganashia comes in handy, because oftentimes I can have like something like maybe like a Marauding Captain in my hand, and a Goblin Elite or perhaps Alexandrite, and what I can do is use Lightning Vortex, just discard Fable Ganashia, and it destroys all face-up monsters on their field, and then go ahead and bring him back with 1800, and then summon Marauding Captain, and especially summon Goblin Elite, and attack him direct. Like, that's the whole object of this deck. Now for protection wise, I use 2 magic cylinders. Reason being is because, like, if in the event that I do get attacked, which I do, this is just going to basically shave some more life points off of them. And not to mention Stardust is affected by that, so he can't stop it, which is the whole point. Another older card, Judgment of Anubis. Discard a card from my hand, again, Fable Ganashia. I can negate the activation and the effect of a spell card controlled by my opponent that includes the effect of destroying spell or trap cards, hence Heavy Storm, Mystic Space Typhoon. And then I can destroy one monster on my opponent's side of the field and inflict damage to my opponent equal to half the attack of the destroyed monster. So obviously it's not a card that I use very often, but since a lot of Mystic Space Typhoons are running around and Heavy Storms, it definitely comes in useful. And plus I get the effect of Fable Ganashia. Bring out 1800 attack, hit him direct, so it's kind of like a 2+2. Then of course, kind of like Staple, Dimensional Prison. Obviously it kind of works like Magic Cylinder, except it doesn't shave life points. It removes from play the attacking monster, hence Stardust, hello, gets rid of it. Fiendish Chain, I don't really see this card used that much in my travels, but it does get used. But basically I can negate the effect of a monster on my opponent's side of the field, and it also can't be attacked. So it's almost like a binding card, and hence Stardust. Effect is negated, can't be attacked, or can't attack, and etc. And then of course, another card that I do not see used very often is Karma Cut. Older card, but it works wonders. Discard a card from my hand, and I can remove from play one face-up monster on my opponent's side of the field. But here's the kicker. If they have cards in their graveyard with the same name, those get removed as well. So not only am I hitting the monster on the field, but I'm hitting their graveyard as well, so they can't bring stuff back. So in that case, it also obviously uses has a good use for Stardust. And again, Fable Ganashia, get rid of that shit. So that's the main deck, and I will show my side deck. I don't really use it all that often, but I've got Gaia Knight, Force of Earth, it's just something 2600 attack, just pull out of my ass if I have to. Well, I instead go for Iron Chain Dragon. It's basically the same thing, only 100 less attack, but it's got a mill top 3 cards off their deck, so it's got a lot more use to it than Gaia Knight, but hey, whatever works. And I use like Saber Rebellum. I don't really use it all that much. I just throw it in there because it's like one of the only level 7s I have, so whatever. Blackwing Armor Master. I mean, if I'm gonna run Gale the Whirlwind, I might as well run this card since it's very hard to destroy. and it has just a kick-ass effect. So I mean, it's worth using. And then Colossal Fighter, since most of the cards in here are warrior based, I mean it's pretty much worth it, you know. And not to mention if you use Miss Valley Soldier, you know, comboed with all the other level 4s in the deck, you know, it works out, and it gains 100 attack for each one of them in the graveyard, so you know it works out. And then of course, it's an anti-Stardust deck, and what do you know, running Stardust. It's a killer card, so I figure I gotta use it. If this deck is geared against it, why not use it? And of course, the last one, Red Dragon Archfiend. Yeah, just something to pull out and kick ass with, basically. But anyways, tell me what you think of the deck. You know, build it, play it. You know, give me some feedback. You know, I've played with it a lot, and it works wonders on Blackwings and whatever else, dragons. Doesn't matter. This deck is too fast. You know, when you're shaving like 6,000 life points in like one turn off your opponent, and usually it's like the first turn, yeah, they don't stand too much of a chance. So, but anyways, like I said, just give me some feedback and tell me what you think. Thanks.